with Around H-Town with Simple Elegance, and today we have Nicky Gomez, and it's so great to have you.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited to be here. My first podcast, everybody, so.
It's okay. You know what? You have to start somewhere, and oh my gosh, I remember when I was on my first, it was a couple of years ago with my business coach at the time, and I'm like, okay. And I'm like, it was on my goals to do a podcast for like 2 years or 3 years. I'm not sure. Jonathan would. And I kept on saying, Jonathan's my son, just like buy everything. I don't need to know anything of how it works. Just make it happen. That's all I need to know. I need to show up and that's it.
Yeah. My thing is always that I do a lot of videos and it's just, I have this raspy voice. And so it's like, people are probably thinking there's somebody totally different behind the mic than what I look like. I can just imagine what people are thinking. I'm like, who's that raspy voice realtor out there in the woodlands?
She's got a sexy voice. Anyway, so Nicky, what is your journey to become where you are now? You're now a top Houston reel producer. Like, you have an amazing business, but
thank you.
Where did it start from?
So let's see. I think it's been 5 years now, and I actually worked, corporate America, like a lot of us do. And my youngest son was graduating in 2015, and I had always wanted to do real estate. So I was like, you know what? He's about to graduate. There won't be anybody at the house. I'll be an empty nester. So I was like, I'm going to do it. And I kind of jumped into it. And I tell everybody all the time in this business, I think it is definitely one that you have to jump into. Part-time. I don't know how people do it part-time because our clients, just like you, our clients are everything, and they're the most important thing. So, before I was in real estate, I was at every football game, PTO, PTA, whatever, volunteer coordinator, I did it all. And I couldn't see being able to do that and do what I do now, because now the important things for me are making sure that my clients' homes are ready to go and get them sold, or my buyers are getting taken care of. So that's taken a lot of attention. And so I definitely think this business, you have to kind of jump in. And that's what I did. Just kind of jumped in, and it's been crazy. It's gone it just went crazy, which is not a bad thing. I'm super grateful, super thankful every day. But we have grown. We are going to be adding on a new buyer's agent this year. Yay! So 2021, we're hoping to hire on a couple new people on the team and just getting bigger, which is not a bad thing.
I know, because you have to get to a point where you can't do it all.
Oh, no.
You have to multiply yourself.
Yes.
And it's like, okay, well, I can do this time, but I got 5 buyers and there's only one of me.
Yes.
So let's pull team in.
I've had clients call me before and they're like, how do you do it? Because I know I'm not your only client. So if I'm taking up this much time, how do you do it? And I'm like, I'm on my phone a lot, and I tend to stay up late at night. Late at night is kind of my thing. That's where I can kind of get my paperwork and all that stuff done. And then, I don't know, you just figure out a way to balance it. But we definitely are growing to the point where we definitely need to bring somebody on. So it's a good thing.
That is exciting.
I know, super excited.
Team is awesome. And then also to develop people and to see them grow, and it just kind of starts multiplying and everything. And
definitely.
That is huge.
Definitely.
I know you guys were working with, there was a builder over here that was doing really, really modern houses.
Oh, the Buildco.
The Buildco.
So we still actually work with them.
Yes,
okay. Still work with them.
And how much more do they have left over there to do?
I think that we've got 2 on the market now. We've got 6 more coming up that have broke ground. So we've actually even got some of them already under contract, pre-construction, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But he's really one of the only builders where you can get that modern design and stay out of that high price point, right? It's more reasonable price point for everybody.
North of the city too.
Oh yeah.
Which is crazy. Like, you can get a very modern house here, Woodlands adjacent.
Yes.
Kind of.
Yeah. And we're right under 300,000 or right at 300,000. And it's really has taken off. A lot of the people, because of course Houston is that relocation city. So the people that we tend to draw from are California, New York, up north, Florida. It's crazy to me the amount of traffic we get in, the relocations, and that we're still getting in.
Yeah.
I mean, it hasn't stopped. I think I was reading up on it that I want to say year over year, single family homes are up 32% from last year.
Which is crazy.
October
did
alone
anybody know that there was COVID?
I know. I say that all the time. I'm like, what happened? What's COVID? Like, it's just like it's kind of wild. October were breaking numbers for a lot of people. I think October year over year for single family was up 7%.
That's crazy.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
But the lower interest rates have really helped keep the economy kind of moving.
Well, and also we kind of lost our little spring, which we're normally crazy in the spring, a little slower during this part. But it was like, well, people still have to move.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like they stopped because everybody was fearful.
Yeah.
But then it's like, okay, well, life is still happening in Texas.
Yeah.
You know,
and companies were still bringing in people.
Yeah.
And that's what really surprised me. Definitely saw a stop in some of my oil and gas clients as far as movement.
Yeah.
But tech, everywhere.
Yeah.
It's crazy the amount of movement we're still getting. And I think that as long as interest rates stay low, I definitely think we're in a seller's market. I have a lot of people ask me that, but we don't have any inventory.
Right.
I took clients out yesterday. We were out for, 5 hours yesterday. And almost before we could get to any house, it had gone under contract.
No.
It was crazy. It was super crazy. It was like there's just nothing there. And even the new builders aren't building. It's like they're out of inventory. And now homes aren't going to be done until the first of the year. So I'm expecting home prices to keep rising and probably going into next year.
Yeah.
Which is great for my sellers.
Yeah.
You know,
exactly.
It's great for my sellers. We're getting them in and getting them sold.
Right. And they're on the market and off the market.
Oh, yeah.
You know, which is huge because it's like nobody wants to live in a house that's on the market. That is not fun. Because it's a totally different way of lifestyle.
Exactly.
And it's like you want to just get out, you know, like take my house and let me go to my next thing.
Well, and for you guys, I don't know if you've told anybody the story yet, but the house that we had over in Strawberry Canyon, you guys staged it so immaculately that I think it was our broker tour.
Yeah.
And having, that's become in my opinion, a big deal now, is where I think a lot of times people kind of backed off a little bit on broker tours. But if everything's done correctly and staging's done correctly, and you guys brought in stuff for us, you guys brought us in a popcorn machine. I think that's what did it. I think
I'm sure. I don't know. I think it was a champagne.
That too. That might have done it too.
Champagne, some popcorn, some cheese and crackers.
Yeah. So bringing in other agents because inventory is so low.
Right.
A lot of times something might just get passed by where they're like, okay, wait, that's probably already under contract or whatever the case is. So bringing in the agents to that broker tour and then them getting to see the home, it's like, I have a buyer.
Right.
Because
and you had 3 appointments booked that night.
Yes.
And it was under contract.
Back to back, under contract.
Within 24 hours of that, which was huge. And that house had sat for 3 to 6 months.
Yes,
I can't remember.
prior.
It was prior with another agent who came in vignette stage.
Yes.
Well, it's a 5,000 square foot house. You have to have that house staged, the main areas, so that people can envision living in the house.
And if you don't, and for that house even particularly, there were certain areas of the room, or the way the house was kind of designed, that you do have to show people how they can showcase their furniture and how they can showcase the home. Because if you don't stage it correctly, or you don't stage it at all, people just walk in and they see a 5,000 square foot empty house. They don't. Sometimes
there's no personality.
We need that help, that vision, for them to be able to see how their family can be there and how they can live in it every day. So
people have said, well, staging, I don't even have to stage right now because it's going to move. And no, there's, people have to understand 95% of buyers cannot envision what it's going to be. We always say buyers only see what they see, not the way it's going to be. And if you don't create the lifestyle, then it just walks on, because it's like ugh. It's like kind of going to the grocery store with no clothes on, and would you do that? No, I wouldn't.
Nobody would want that. Nobody.
All you do is when you walk into, it might be a beautiful home, all you see is the flaws. You see all the dings on the paint, and you see this, and you think, you start thinking, oh, it's going to cost me this and this and this. Well, no, we want to take away all that and see the lifestyle, that you fall in love with it, and you're like, okay, let me write a check. And it's really worth the investment. Is always less than a price reduction.
100%. And they always go much quicker that way. And it's just so that they can see it. So.
Exactly.
Yes.
And a lot of times you can get more. We have stats that show that you can get up to 17% more than a non-staged house. Just because you have, you basically prepared the house, so everybody sees it as a plus, the building inspectors and the appraisers and buyers, they all see it in a much better situation.
Well, it
So
definitely is a must. For sure.
exactly. And we love it. And we love working with you, Nikki.
Thank you.
And
I get excited.
so
I'm like, yes, this is perfect, because I always know you guys are going to do a great job staging it, so I don't have to worry about it. You
well,
know,
and that's
the big
our
thing.
job.
Yes.
Our job is to take the pain points off of you.
Yes.
You know, and that it's done. They've got it. You know, we even had this chandelier that was in the total wrong place.
Gosh, yeah.
And
right.
you know, it's like you're like, and we're like, it's gonna get moved.
Are we moving this? Are we moving this? Yeah,
It'll get moved.
yeah.
You know, we'll take care of it. But it's not something that because you as a realtor, and people don't realize this, and we have like this real estate wheel, which I love to use.
Yeah.
It's a VARB thing, but it shows like all the different agencies that you have to deal with to get one house sold. Now you've got like multi-houses going at one time, and you're still having to deal with every
I know.
one of
I always
these people.
tell everybody it's because those are aspects of what we do, but it's all of our partners. It's you know, you have appraisers, you have inspectors, you have the other agent on the other end. You have title. You know, you have all these people. Mortgage. You know, you have all these people that are involved. And so it is important that when we hire or we partner with people, that it's people that we can trust, that we know are going to get it done.
Yeah, you're going to work like this.
And I say that to agents all the time. I have a lot of new agents that ask me, you know, they want to know how I became successful and what I did, and I share everything. Like, I'm one of those agents that's like, just ask me, I'll tell you any secret I know, which I don't think there's any secrets in this business. But I do think that the most important thing is who you partner with. I mean, that changes the whole concept in your business.
Like that you can pick up your phone and say, hey, you know, I've got something, we're getting tight, or, you know, they just moved up the closing to this date. Is there any way that can
you get the furniture out early because we're closing sooner?
Yeah, but you know what? But that is something that's so important that on the other, you know, I'm going to get a yes. It's not going to be like, oh no, well the contract says blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
No, the answer is going to be yes.
No.
We'll figure it out, you know?
Yeah,
and that's all your partners that you want.
Everybody.
That's the most important thing.
I was meeting with an agent on Friday, a new agent. She just got her license. I've known her for years. And, you know, we were talking about all that. And she actually came from a mortgage background.
Okay.
She understands that aspect of how we all have to do things together. And she was like, I need all your connections, because I would think all your people must do a great job, because if they didn't do a great job, you wouldn't be working with them. And she's like, so I need all your connections. I need everybody. And I'm like, yeah, here, you know, I'll share it, because it's important. I mean, from like you said, mortgage to title. And at the end of the day, I always want to make sure my clients are getting the best service, the taken care of, like gold, you know, like platinum. They need to be taken care of from top to bottom. And my business partners and partnering with companies like yours, that's what allows me to be successful, because that's what allows me to make my clients happy. So it's super important. Partners are super
partnership
important.
is like major. Like, I remember when I first got into the business and I was new to Houston, and I was like, okay, so who can I trust? And who, you know, it's like, I remember my first window treatment, and it was upholstery and window treatments. And I didn't know who to trust, you know, and oh my gosh, Nicky, the window treatments went fabulous. I still work with my workroom. Okay, I love this woman. I like bow to her.
Yes.
Whatever you want.
Yes.
The upholstery was a nightmare. And like never used them again. And it was just like, I was so stunned. I never had such a situation before. But it's like, you have to build your trust. And you know, now I have these upholsterers that they're the only ones I go to.
The worst feeling is having a client call you and say, I don't know who picked this company, or I don't know whose idea it was to use this company, or these people aren't calling me back, or this. That is the worst feeling ever. And that's why those partnerships are so important, because if I ever get a client that calls me, and anybody who's ever worked with me knows my style, that my clients come first. I don't need you to do anything for me, but make sure they're taken care of, period. And, you know, to ever have a client call me and say, oh, well, this happened or this happened, and I'll be on the phone immediately. Like, hey, we have a little bit of a problem. It needs to get taken care of, like right away. This is not how we do business. And I think that I've changed partnerships over the years from when I first started, definitely, to where I know now we have a a great line of partnerships of people that I can trust and that I trust with my clients, which is the biggest thing.
Right.
Thing.
Exactly. So what has been one of the biggest lessons learned in this business?
Oh gosh, in this business, oh God, there's so many lessons that you learn over time and every day. Exactly. Actually, when I was meeting that agent the other day, I even told her, I was like, you're going to learn something every day. And she's like, well, I feel like I learned so much in school. I'm like, no, you didn't. I feel that, our schooling gets us ready to take the test, right? And then, certain brokerages give you training of some sort, I think that gets you there. I said, but it's when you start doing the business, and every day it's something new.
And you're negotiating
every
something
single day.
different
Every day there's something new. So for me, I guess, gosh, probably my biggest thing I think I ever really did was one of my first contracts. I think was kind of my biggest eye-opening and it was when I realized that I didn't know anything coming out of school. You're sitting there going, wait a second. Wait. I didn't learn this. They didn't teach me this. What does this mean? So I would think in real estate, I think the biggest thing for me was one of my first contracts where I was just kind of like that aha moment when you're like, oh, wait a second. What am I doing? Like, wait, how does this work again? And I'm calling people, and people that mentor and I'm like, wait, how do I do this? Like, what am I doing? Because you want to make sure that you do everything right. And that you partner with the right
that
people.
Contract is kind of big,
that contract is huge.
That contract is like this.
And so, I would think that's probably one of the biggest things for me was kind of at the very beginning where it was just kind of like, wow, okay, you're going to learn something every day new and be prepared every day for the unexpected. I mean, and every day it's something unexpected.
Yeah.
Every single day. I had I remember one of my first flip houses, first time I ever did a flip, right?
Okay.
And I thought I knew what I was doing because I've read it all and looked at all the videos on YouTube. But I just remember I was going to that house and it was the first time I'd ever gone into a house that a client had bought like wholesale. So I never saw it. He had never seen it. It was just wholesale.
And wholesale is a whole different.
Oh, that's a whole another
world. Yeah,
like that's a world that I don't go into any longer because I learned that lesson from the beginning.
You have no clue what you're walking into.
And I remember
wholesale.
It was a home, South Post Oak, on the other side of 610. And he's like, okay, can you meet me there? We want to get with the contractor, look at it. We're going to flip this house. And I remember walking in, and then I remember immediately turning around and walking out because the trash was up to like my knees. The smell, you could smell it from the outside of the street. It was a house that had been sitting there that somebody had been living in with like no water, no sewer. Like it was awful. And I just remember that being my first flip and going, what am I doing? Like, wait. Bring me back to helping builders and my residential clients. I was like, I don't know if I want to touch this again. It all worked out great and it looked fabulous when it was done. But it was one of those, those moments in real estate when you're like, ooh, wait, what did I just get myself into? Yeah. Luckily, I had some big rubber boots in the car and a lot of hand sanitizer. Even back then, still had my hand sanitizer. And it all went great, but I just remember going, ooh, I don't know about these flips. That's a lot.
That's a whole
Especially
different world. And like, ooh, yeah.
Because you don't
and
know
you
what
never
they're
know
getting.
what you're going to get when you open up a wall. You have no clue what's going to come crawling out of it or whatever.
No, you don't at all.
Yeah, so anyway.
I would think that's probably one of my moments in real estate there.
If you could tell a new realtor, give them some advice, what would you tell them?
Oh my gosh. What do I always tell everybody? I will tell everybody that
besides the partnership, I always tell everybody your partnership, and that you have to go all in. I've always been about, you got to jump in 100%. I'd love to tell you that I think people can do it part-time. I just don't see how they give the service and do everything they can do part-time.
And so much of it is on the weekends.
Oh, yeah.
That is.
I always tell everybody, when I first started, 6 months. I think the reason sometimes people don't make it in the industry is because they quit their job and they think they can go into real estate and they can start making this income. I don't know why they all think we drive Bentleys, but we don't. And, they come in, and I always tell them, very first thing I say is, you need to have 6 months of income. If I said anything to anybody in real estate coming in, you need to have 6 months of income. You need to make sure all your bills are paid for the next 6 months. Because otherwise you come in and you become where you're desperate to get that sale. You're desperate to get that buy.
Yeah.
You take away from the customer service. You take away from helping the client because all you're thinking about is, oh my gosh, I got to get that check. How am I going to get this to close? And even if your grandmother is going to buy a house from you as soon as you get your license, which never happens, guys. Nobody buys a house from you and your family immediately. It just doesn't work. You know that even if you did get a contract on day one when you got your license, you have to get through your mortgage. You have to get through your appraiser. You have to get through your inspector. You have to get through all these things. You're still not going to get a check for 45 days. All those
Everything
other pieces
goes
you
perfect.
go through goes perfect. Yeah. So if I ever tell new agents anything, it's put your money away, save it, jump into the business 100%. Don't do things that waste your money. I was telling the young lady Friday, because she was already thinking about doing signs and this, and I was like, you don't have a listing. Why are you going to go spend money on signs when you don't have a listing yet?
Right.
It'll take a sign company 24 hours to make you a sign.
Right.
You get it and you spend the money then.
Yeah.
I said, otherwise you work on other aspects of the business. So definitely save your money. We don't drive Bentleys right away. I don't drive a Bentley, but be cautious of it, but go all in, do it 100% and give your clients, 100%.
Yeah.
There is not one client that I have that I don't feel like that we have a friendship. I really don't.
Right.
Right now, this year, my only problem is my sellers. I'm only getting to see them once when we sign the contract and once when we close. I'm not even getting to build a relationship with them anymore because the market's going so fast. I said that the other day. I was like, I think I've met these people one time, and it was just because we listed it, they signed, we sold it a couple days later, and they closed. And that was like the whole time I got to see them. And we haven't been able to do client events or anything this year. So it's taken away from a little bit of the relationships. But, every single one of my clients, I feel like, I have a friendship with, or, that we have some type of connection. And I definitely feel as an agent, you have to be able to do that.
Right.
And the only way to
and you have to have all those resources. It's like you have to have your tradespeople that you trust. But then it's also the resources of, well, where do I go to the mall? Or where do I go to church? Where do I go here? Because a lot of times you are that first person. They're moving to Houston. They know nothing.
Exactly.
And you're kind of like the travel agent here, and it's like, well, this is where you want to go for your kids, and this is where you want to do. But you've got to have all of that in addition to also getting the house closed or open, whatever. So.
And knowing all that, a lot of times people ask, what specific areas, are you know a lot more about? My boys, we kind of grew up in Klein, so Klein, Woodlands, Spring area. But as in this business, I feel like you need to know everything, everywhere. I've had listings in Pearland. I've had listings in Clear Lake. I've had them in Sugar Land, Katy. You name it, I've had it.
Yep.
Doesn't matter what part of the city. But I feel like you have to be able to do that. And you have to know school districts. You have to know hospitals.
Right.
Hospitals are such a big thing.
Yeah.
You have to know what is around every part of town to help your clients.
I remember when we first moved to Houston, and I was like, well, honey, where do we even go to a hospital? And there's all these urgent cares that I had never heard of such a thing, and it's like, is that where you go? Or what do you do? And, but it was like, you don't know what you don't know, and so you guys are so important with that. And you had mentioned that you're doing a charity event.
Yes, I am.
With dogs. So talk about that.
We got to spread the news. Okay. So every year I pick a charity that we sponsor to help out throughout the year, and this year we chose Houston Pets Alive.
Okay.
We've done a couple things over this year, but for Christmas, instead of doing our annual toy drive, we're going to do a pet supply drive. So November 27th through December 15th, we're going to be collecting things for Houston Pets Alive at our office.
Okay.
If I need to go
Pets alive.
to someone's home or church or school to pick up, I would love to do that as well. But they are one of the only non-kill shelters in Houston.
Okay.
And it's amazing to me the things that they need, like kitten milk, dog food, cat food. Which kitten milk? I didn't ever have a clue.
I have never heard of such.
Never.
I'm a veterinarian's daughter, and I've never heard of kitten milk before.
I think I don't know what it's called, but it's
Where
kitten milk. I don't know. Look that up. But like they need collars and leashes, potty pads. So as a volunteer shelter, they don't just use the potty pads as potty pads. They use them for like medical stuff, which I would have never. If you go back and think about it, it makes sense.
Yeah.
So they use those for procedures, things that's going on there. So potty pads, I know, is a big one. But yeah, we have a list of it that'll be on our website and that we're sending out to everybody, and it'll of course be on our Instagram page and our Facebook page.
Will you send that to me as well? And we're going to connect that as well.
Oh, that would be wonderful.
That'd be awesome.
We would help. Would beyond appreciate any partnership help we could get on it, because it's just one of those things where we kind of forget that these animals, and I'm a huge fur baby mom.
Yeah,
anybody who's seen my Instagram knows that my baby Tank and my baby Zeus are my babies. They're like my life. So I feel like that's something that we need to give to, and I know that they still need fosters, and I always tell people, instead of spending $2,000 on a dog or a cat, go check out the shelters first.
Yeah.
I mean, the amount of kittens sometimes they get is overwhelming. I never thought about it until I started really being a part of it, and it's like, oh my gosh, it is the saddest thing.
Yeah.
It is the saddest thing.
Yeah.
So definitely big push for that this holiday. Just really want to get as many things together as we can and bring it over to the shelter.
Well, that is awesome, and we will definitely help with that. I love our puppies and our kitty cats, and it's like there are the commercials on TV, from the SPCA, and it's just like, oh my gosh, do you want to make me cry?
I know.
And it's like these poor babies, they so are dependent on us. They are the loves of your life, and then when you have to give them up, they just don't understand. It's not like you can talk through this. It's kind of like when a child is taken away from their family, and you can't explain that to them, and they just don't understand, and they've like given and given and given to you. And
and I tell you, one of the things, I had gone to the shelter earlier this year, and which I didn't understand, because a lot of times when you go to animal shelters, the dogs are barking or whatever. Well, they're in a cage. They're not barking because they're aggressive.
No.
They're barking because they're in this cage. They're just trying to. A lot of times I think animals get passed up because when they do go to shelters that they are barking or they're jumping on the cage or whatever, and it's because they're in a cage. They're in the kennel.
Loved.
They want love. They want hugs.
Exactly.
I mean, my dogs, when I come home, they're jumping on the window and jumping off the couch. They just want love. They just want me to pet them and rub them.
I was trying to clean the window the other day from my dog because he doesn't like our neighbor, and he attacks the window.
Oh, no.
And I'm like oh my gosh, Brady, what have you done? And, but I mean, they just want your attention, and they want you to say, I'm here for you.
It's a big drive this Christmas.
That is so exciting.
Drop it off at the Remax office on Oak Ridge.
Okay.
I have a big box there, so I'm collecting everything there at the office.
So that's Remax.
The Woodlands
Spring.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And it's over at our Oak Ridge office.
Okay.
And we have a big box there. I'm hoping to fill up like 5 or 6 of those things. Would be awesome.
Okay.
So yes.
And do they want toys or no? They really want more.
They really want more supplies
that they can use.
The foods, the kitten milk. Again, we'll have to figure out where we get that from.
So now, say if somebody, and I know about this just because it just happened to me. My pug passed away, and he had diabetes, and so I had a lot of insulin left over and needles.
Okay.
Is that something that they would want to take too?
So.
Or
I would have to say I'm pretty sure yes.
Okay, so medical supplies,
yes.
if they're current.
Yeah. Yes,
these
not
are huge.
expired stuff.
Right, current.
Yes, current stuff. So, yes, they would love any of that
because that's expensive.
Yeah.
And when you're running a nonprofit and you're really taking care of these precious little ones, there's not a lot of money there.
No. So thank you for sharing that today. That makes me super happy.
So exciting. We'll have to see what we can do.
Yes.
Anyway, so what do you love about Houston?
Oh gosh.
What don't? Yeah.
Yeah. Traffic is still not my favorite thing. Now,
It actually was amazing.
my gosh.
Like as of March 13th for like a month, there was like nobody around. It was like, are we in Houston?
With 99, it makes my life
That's
easier.
my best friend.
Yes, it is. It is. I think in tolls, I'm paying for it for everybody. But I would say with Houston, it's that you can do anything, go anywhere. It's you can go to a nice restaurant in town. You can do the arts. There's so much you can do.
Yeah.
And even in everything outside, there's so many places that, like City Center. Love City Center. I love it. I feel like sometimes you can just go and vacation in Houston or vacation in the Woodlands
Right.
or vacation in Katy. Everywhere has got something that everybody can do.
Right.
There's always something you can do. It's such a diverse city. I love it. I feel like there's something for everybody, and that there's always something that you can find to do
on a Saturday or a Sunday or on a Wednesday for me.
I know.
It just depends.
So true.
Yes.
I'm like, I love just even walking down the waterway.
Oh,
you know, like it's just so peaceful.
I
And
saw something the other day about, I think there was a Woodlands, kind of like a scavenger hunt.
Oh,
where
really?
You could go, and it was all the art and all the sculptures and all the things that are actually really around the Woodlands, at the waterway, around the mall.
How educational that would have been.
Yes, it was. If you really thought about it, the art that's everywhere out here is spectacular.
Yeah.
So it was like a scavenger hunt or something.
That
I thought that was the neatest thing.
That is
the neatest thing.
fun.
So
Yeah. Oh, that's so awesome. Well, my dear, how do people get in touch with you?
Oh, well, let's see. Of course, I have our website and Instagram. Instagram is Nicky Gomez Realtor. Facebook is the same. Email, phone. My phone number is 832-998-3958.
I had to think about that.
I had to think about it because I'm like, wait, I usually just send it to somebody. And then my website is nickygomez.com.
Okay.
So we have a ton of stuff on our website, not just about real estate, but also all of our charities. Because there's a lot of other charities that I try to help with, Houston Women's Center, Habitat for Humanity. Love Habitat for Humanity as well.
I do too.
I think it's great what they do. And the Women's Center, we did a big food drive for them. They had an empty pantry earlier, and it was like, oh my gosh, we got to get food in there. These women need to have somewhere to go to get food. So websites got a ton of stuff about our charities. A ton of stuff about me. If you really care to read about me, it's there. But nickygomez.com, my website, and call me.
Awesome.
I would love to help
Nicky
people.
She is so much fun to work with. So if you are coming to Houston or you're in Houston, you're looking for an amazing realtor, give Nicky a call.
Thank
and
you.
Nikki, thanks so much for being on
having
today.
me.
And thank you for joining us. Have a great day.
Bye, guys.